Ég heiti Helen Gray og vinn hérna hjá Iðunni fræðslusetri og síðustu 2-3 árin þá ég búin að vera að skoða möguleikan á því að innleiða stafrænar viðurkenningar fyrir þátttakendur okkar sem sækja til okkar námskeið. Og fyrir, svona 2 árum síðan þá kynntist ég þessu fyrirbæri sem heita stafrænar viðurkenningar. Og þetta tækni sem notuð til þess að rauninni efla og gera viðurkenningar áreiðanlegar, gagnsæjar og það hægt að deila viðurkenningunum á til dæmis LinkedIn eða á Facebook. Þannig að lærdómurinn hann orðinn þannig að þú getur deilt hún bara eiginlega með vinum, skyldfólki, bara með öllu samfélaginu. Þannig að við sáum alveg klárlega tækifæri. Og ég svo heppin að einn af eigendum fyrirtæki sem heitir Diplomasafe staddur hér á landi, heitir Kim Mortenssen. Og þeir eru okkar samstarfsaðilar í að gefa út þessar stafrænu viðurkenningar. Því það ákveðin tækni sem liggur þarna bakvið sem við sem fræðslufyrirtæki búum ekki yfir. En lítið danskt sprotafyrirtæki sem heitir Diplomasafe sem að verða nokkuð stórt. Þeir eru komnir með viðskiptavini allan heim og eru að aðstoða fræðslufyrirtæki að gefa út áreiðanlegar, gagnsæjar viðurkenningar fyrir þá sem eru að sækja námskeið eða eru að taka nám. Og Kim Mortenssen ætlar að vera hérna í smáspjall á ensku og ég vona að þið njótið. Takk. Hi. Welcome, Kim. We're here today to discuss digital credentials.
Indeed.
Yes, and a few years ago, Iðan started playing around with the idea to issue digital credentials because we really like the idea of going through this digital transformation of credentials. As any other educational institution, we have been issuing credentials on PDF and our learners have been getting that in an email. And a few years back, we attended a OEB in Berlin. It's like an online, what do you call it?
Conference.
Conference, yes.
Yeah.
And there we were introduced to digital credentials and to your company, Diplomasafe.
Yeah.
So Kim, can you tell me a little bit about Diplomasafe?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Well, we've been around for more than 5 years now. It's exactly on this Friday, 3 weeks. Then it was our 5-year anniversary. Okay. So we issued our first digital credential. And today we help universities, schools and education institutions like yours to issue secure digital transcripts, badges, diplomas, certificates, and other types of credentials to support their learners.
Do you feel it's like growing? I mean, because when I talk about digital credentials, I mean, people are like, we get it in email. Is that digital? Is that a digital credential? Can you explain to me what's the difference between a digital credential and a regular credential?
There's I think perception is one thing, like what is digital and what is not digital, but also the whole concept of credential. What is credentials as such? And credentials is in its basic form, a credential is a competence. It's basically a document proving a competence, skill, authority given by or issued by a third party that has the authority or to do so. So that's what a credential, and that can basically be anything from a driver's license to a membership card to learning credentials such as diplomas and transcripts and so proof of education. And that has been done previously on paper, or when you were a scout, you got badges on your. That's also a credential for lighting a fire and so on. So proving that you had those skills and competencies. And so those credentials have been digitized. So we probably all remember what happened with Corona. We all got the Corona passport, the Corona pass, which was on our phone. So that once travel were allowed, we used that to to prove to whatever authority that we had the vaccination or we did have corona that was on this digital app that we had on our phone. So that's basically data telling a story about our identity. So credentials more or less support our identity, and today these credentials are being digitized more and more. And a digital credentials, when you ask us at DiplomaSafe, is basically data.
Data, yeah. And it has to be secure.
Yes, that's another thing. It does indeed need to be secure. And that's also, when I talked about perception before, then it's what is secure. And who does perceive it as secure. And still today, there's a lot of, should I say, recognizability or perception that a handwritten signature creates credibility about, if there's a handwritten signature on something, then that gives it credibility. Even though it's just a PNG of a signature, or then that gives it credibility because that is what we've been used to for 1,000 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we have kind of all, at least our generation, brought up with wax seal and signatures as part of. That's legitimate to us, and it still is in a lot of countries. That is how the process is. You need a pen signature to sign, and that's also the only thing that's approved. And in a verification process, you need to hand in a PDF or a scanned version that can be verified against the real version, etc.
But I mean, I think I read somewhere that falsifying credentials is like a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
How can I be sure that buying services from a company like DiplomaSafe or Creedly or whatever, that the credentials that are being issued digitally are secure? I mean, how, as a user receiving a certificate, how can I see the difference?
That's a very good question, and it's definitely one that we've been trying to solve. But how should I put it? You can not. The way that it works is that once it's issued on a platform like ours, for instance, I can only talk about what we do here because I don't know how the others operate in that sense. But when things or credentials are issued via us, we always background check, and that sounds very nasty that we're not the FBI or anyone, but we do a background check of all institutions that actually work with us, that they exist, the employees that are actually there are also employed at that institution, to make sure that it's not some fake university. And the reason we do that is because we actually have been contacted by so fake universities who wanted to issue credentials via our platform because that will recognize that type of credential. So, and right now there's probably around, I don't know how many fake universities are there, but from the last report it was about 1,000 so-called diploma mills where you can buy a fake diploma. And it really differs from country to country. Some countries obviously are more corrupt than others. I think now we are in Denmark and we're probably perceived, or I think we also are one of the least corrupt countries in the world. So we don't have these issues as other countries do.
There is a free flow of working people in Europe. I mean, people are going between countries and are handing in their documents to be able to work in another country. And for example, in Iceland, we are obligated to recognize diplomas from other European countries within the certified crafts and trades.
Yeah.
So if I took like a Svenniprov or the equivalent in, I would just say some country, Austria, and this Austrian wants to come and work in Iceland because the trades here are certified by law. Their diploma has to be recognized here. So we just get a bunch of papers like this, and we go through it, and it looks fine, and we say, yeah, sure. but we have no way of proving if these documents are real. So it could be an opportunity if there was like a QR code or something that we could verify. If everybody was working within this digital world, it would be easier to verify. I'm understanding this correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think we're there yet, but
no, it's probably going to take a while. But it's definitely going that direction, and it would be great if all education or credentials had that kind of verification alongside it, no matter in what format you delivered it.
Don't you think this is, I mean, we have to be going that way. I mean, we just look at Europass, for example. I mean, they're trying to put everything into a digitally verifiable kind of database or whatever.
But we're certainly going in that direction. One of the initiatives out of the EU Commission, the project under the Digitize Europe initiative that is going from 2022 to 2027, is exactly a European blockchain service infrastructure that's going to support the European or hopefully global ecosystem of identities.
Identities,
And identities as such are
sounds like Big
very, it is definitely. And our identity consists of a lot of credentials, right? So what identity is basically, who we are. Social security card,
birth certificates and
birth
everything.
certificate, driver's license, Corona pass, and of course all our skills, competences, degrees, and so forth. And that's a big project right now, and there's some tests going now to try to issue using this specific way of recognizing and verifying credentials. But the European model is a little different than how blockchains would normally operate, where you more or less add things to the blockchain. In our sense, we're using it as a verification engine to verify the legitimacy of the credential, because we have GDPR and there's some things that we need to consider. And also, it's not everybody who can issue to this blockchain. You need to be green-listed and approved to issue. So then that is actually a great way of creating a trust model where we know that you as an institution has been approved to issue there, and we know that it's verified via this overall trust model or ledger, the identity or whoever. And that is going to create equal opportunity, mobility, transparency, and all the things that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is I think the benefits of going this way, just like Iðan is attempting to do in everything that we're issuing, and we are also providing courses that have to fulfill certain standards, and I think being able to issue digital credentials for our learners will give added value to the learner. So it's really our hope that we can really get up and running with this, and I think we're on track. But to end this little discussion, Kim, what could be the threat to, like, somebody just saying, this isn't going to work?
The threat in this is well, from what we talk about is actually this trust model, because if there's no trust model, there's no overall agreement that we all should use a certain standard, then it's going to be very difficult to create this transparency, and it's going to be very difficult to create legitimacy about the credentials that has been issued, no matter what type of credential it is, because there are other formats of, I don't know which formats, but there are definitely other blockchains. BlockCert is one. Very, it's a great format, but anyone can actually issue using this technology. So there's nobody saying you cannot issue using BlockCert, for instance, or you can create a private blockchain, or but which is basically just a server, but you could then say, yes, we're using blockchain technology, but it doesn't have this overall trust.
It is the trust model that
trust model. So I think that the threat is not so much in the technology. It's more about, you know, can we actually agree?
Exactly.
The countries in between to apply the same technology cross-border.
Exactly.
Because that will, in the end, help everybody in the verification process, in an application process, and create a lot. It'd just be a lot easier for students to travel, apply for jobs, and create this
share knowledge. I think
share knowledge.
I think this is for me what attracted me to this idea of digital credentials. This is this sharing of learning, that I can take a course or take a degree or whatever, and easily share it on LinkedIn or whatever social media, and it's much more visible, and you can get more information across. I can get information about the place where I was studying, or I can learn more about the company that I've been training in just by connecting this together in this platform.
I think we refer to that as the digital wall of because I don't know if you've been in offices where you then have a meeting with someone, and on the wall behind them you have all the framed diplomas of all their achievements, or you go to the doctor's office and you see all their. Where that wall today is on LinkedIn, where you can actually add your credentials. There's a place for that directly on LinkedIn, and it's clickable. And it's easy verifiable, so you can not only share it there, but you can also have it easily verified there to prove that you actually have that skill. Whereas anybody can make a photocopy and put it on the wall.
Exactly, but nobody will see it except that one person that comes into
Exactly.
So I think that's a good note to end this on, that digital credentials are definitely about sharing. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for having me.